Hi students, in this video we are going to explore Weldment's module of SolidWorks. So before I start working on SolidWorks, just a quick overview of weldments. As you may already know, weldments are structures of frames or trusses connected together by welding. And most of us are familiar with welding. There are some special unique things about welding drawings. That's why SolidWorks created this special module that we can use to incorporate those unique features of welding drawings. So, by and large, the modeling step of creating weldments in SolidWorks are like this. First, you create a weld frame. Weld frame means basic skeleton, and it will make much more sense when we actually work on SolidWorks. So you have to create the skeleton first, weld frame, then you add meat to that skeleton by creating structural members, then create weld joints. There are different types of weld joints that you can read about, but I'm just going to show you a very brief tutorial to just give you and quick overview. And then you can also close the ends of the members. So having said that, here is the tutorial that we are going to work on. This is what we are going to create using the Weldment module. So without further ado, let's get started. So I have SolidWorks open here. I'm going to click new part, and the my dimensions are in IPS units, so I'm going to keep that as IPS. Okay, so here we are. uh, we, right now we don't have weldment tab activated here, so we have to bring that tab here first. So I'm going to right click on one of these existing tabs and click on tabs, and then you should select weldments right here. Okay, so that will bring that weldments tab, which you can work on. So far so good. Now first we have to create the skeleton, right? So let's work on creating that skeleton for this particular weldment model. So I'm going to use front plane, right click on the front plane and sketch, and I'm going to draw a corner rectangle with the center of the not the one corner of the rectangle on the origin. So here is how it's gonna look. Let's dimension this rectangle. It's actually square of 24 inches by 24 inches. So 24 by 24. Okay, so that's that. The sketch is complete. We can exit the sketch. Next, I want to create a plane, a reference geometry feature, which is a plane that is parallel to front plane. So let us do that. So we go to the features tab and reference geometry plane, and this plane is the first reference for this plane is front plane. So from this design tree, I'm going to select front plane. Okay, and the offset distance is 36 inches. 36. So this new plane that we are creating is parallel to the front plane with the offset distance of 36 inches. So I'm going to click OK. And if I put this thing in isometric orientation, then you will see this is the front plane on which we already created a sketch, and this is plane 1. Now I want to create sketch number 2 on plane 1. So right click on plane 1 and click sketch. Okay, and the sketch 2 is basically the copy of sketch 1. So instead of recreating it, I will just copy sketch 1 from front plane to the plane 1, And to copy a sketch from a different plane onto the current plane, you have to use on the sketch tab, you have to use option called convert entities. So I click on convert entities to convert. I can select these four lines, or I can simply come to this design tree here, and I can select sketch 1 that I want to copy, and I click OK. So there we go. We successfully copied sketch 1 from front plane onto the plane 1, and this is our sketch 2 now. So we exit sketch 2 here. Okay. Next, we are going to, so we are, as you can see, we are working on a skeleton. And then after completing the skeleton, we can add the structural members. We can add meat to that skeleton. So the third sketch is going to be on the right plane. So I'm going to right click on right plane and sketch. Uh, and you may want to look perpendicular to the plane by selecting normal to option. And now I want to draw a couple of lines from here to that point. That's one line, and my second line is from this origin to the end point of that line. Okay, and as you can see, these lines are blue, not full. The one line is blue, not fully defined. So what we can do is uh, to fully define it, uh, maybe I can select the end point of that line, control key press and hold, and select this line here, and create piers. So just trying to connect the ends properly. It They were properly connected, but SolidWorks, we had to explicitly state that, so that SolidWorks understands, and it now the sketch is fully defined. So that is our sketch number 3, which is on the right plane, and we are going to exit that sketch now, and we have to create a sketch 4 on a plane that is parallel to the right plane. uh, that will make this like a rectangular box. So we need to create a new plane then that will be parallel to the right plane. So let's go to reference geometry, plane, and we have to select from the design tree, we have to select the right plane as our first reference, and offset distance. The new plane is parallel to the right plane with the offset distance of 24 inches. So let's type that 24, and that is that. Click OK. Now we want to draw sketch number 4 on plane 2, which will be actually copy of these two lines, or copy of sketch 3. So we can once again copy sketch from one plane to other plane. So right click on plane 2 and sketch to start a new sketch, right? To start sketch number 4. So there we did that. Now we want to copy sketch 3 as part of sketch 4. So we will use the option convert entities, and we will open the design tree here, and select sketch 3 to put this box here, input box, and click OK. And now you can see those two lines are completed now. So exit sketch. So now if you don't want to see plane 1 and plane 2, you can right click on plane 1, and you can hide it, and same thing you can do with plane 2, hide it. So we can focus on the box here. So our first step, modeling step, is complete. The next modeling step, as you know, is to create the structural members, where I can show you here. Let's see, where is the steps listed here. Now that sheet made here. So we created the weld frame, and now we are going to work on creating the structural members, right? Okay, so I will put it nice isometric orientation once again. And now let's go to the Weldments tab, because the structural members are available only on that tab. So let's select structural members. Okay, and there are some inputs that we have to provide. Standard, we can select ANSI inch. ANSI stands for American National Standards Institute, so we are using those standards. Inch. Type, so the structural member come in a variety of cross sections, right? So the different types. So I'm going to use a tube rectangular tube type that I'm going to choose. So I selected that, and then of course they come in some standard sizes. So we will select the 3 by 2 by 0.25, 3 by 2 by 0.25. So all these inputs are now complete, and we have to select sketch 1. So I'm going to put those structural members on sketch 1, right? So I'm going to open that and select sketch 1. And you can see as soon as I clicked on sketch 1 in the design tree, structural members are appeared here. So that's the group 1. Then I can click on new group button, and group 2, for group 2 I want to put two sketches as part of group 2, sketch 3 and sketch 4. Okay, so that looks very good now. So with all of that, this is complete, so we can click OK. And here we have added the structural members. Now we want to add structural members on this side as well. So one more time we can click on structural member. We can keep all the same inputs that we used in the previous step, and we have to use sketch 2 for that box here, sketch 2. Okay, and now we can do some other settings here. uh, Apply corner settings, let's see. uh, Apply corner treatment, right? And there are three different options. We have end miter, which is already selected, so we keep that default. No problem with that. For angle, we can put maybe 90-degree angle here. Let's see where the angle is here. We can put 90-degree instead of 0. You can play with this, right? To explore this further, you can play with this, but I'm going to put 90-degree for rotation angle. Okay, in miter 90-degree for rotation angle, and let me click on locate profile so we can see it clearly. And that's what we see. So looks like these basic inputs for now are good enough. So with that I'm going to click OK, and that's what we have so far. Okay, next is we are going to add weld joints. That is step number 3, or so we can uh, I guess create weld joints. One part of creating weld joints is to add gussets. So I will show you how to add gussets. So we are once again on Weldment tab, and there is option called gusset to provide the strength to the corners, right, and help in welding. So we click on gusset. Okay, and we need each corner we can put a gusset. Each corner of these structural members we can put a gusset. I'm just going to show you one, but you can almost uh, put 24 gussets similar to that. I'm going to show you just one instance here. So I'm going to select this surface and this surface. Okay, so you can already see the gusset is appearing here between these two surfaces. There are two types of gussets, polygonal and triangular. I'm going to select the triangular gusset, and then we can choose the define the profile distance 1 and distance 2 for the gusset, right? And distance 1 is this one here, and distance 2 is that. So I'm gonna do it like 4 by 4, 4 inches by 4 inches. Okay, there are some other things here, both sides that look good, or just up on inner side, so you can play with this. And thickness, now the thickness, we did the distance 1 and distance 2. Now we need to talk about the thickness of the gusset. Thickness of the gusset, maybe I change it to 0.375. Okay, so I made it little thicker. So those inputs are good for now, so I'm gonna click OK. And as I said before, you can add similar gussets to all the other corners, right? I'm not going to do that for the sake of time. And last thing is now to we're not going to close the ends of these members in this tutorial, but we will now add the welding, right? We'll actually add the weld. So let me focus on this gusset here, zoom on to that, and we are going to add weld bead. So I'm going to select that, select the gusset edge. So we're gonna select the, like this gusset edge, this uh, we can select all the gusset edges, right? So I'm gonna just go around and on both sides, gotta be really careful. Let me try again. Yeah, I was trying to choose weld path, but apparently, so I selected from weld geometry to weld path, and I'm gonna click on okay. Okay, and the let's see what I need to add here. The radius for the bead size, that I'm going to put 0.125, and so far so good. So I'm going to click OK, and that adds gusset, oops, there. You right now it's not visible, but it will be when you actually create the drawing. You can see that you will create the drawing, it will show up in the drawing. Let me see one thing here, just a minute. So what I wanted to show you is, right now you are not seeing, actually there's a weld bead, but you are not seeing it. You will see that in the drawing, but if you really want to show that, you can click on view, and uh, uh, display or hide and show is the what you want. And there should be an option for weld beads. If you look at that, right here is a weld bead, so I'm going to click that. And as soon as I did that, you can see, I can see a nice weld there, right? Nice welding. So that's what I was talking about. Anyway, I'm gonna put it back in isometric orientation, and so your job is to add gussets in all the corners and then do the welding, like that, add weld bead. So that's all about this tutorial. I will stop here, and thank you.